So what is going on, guys? I'm Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video. So I just saw this tweet over on X by Codename Pizza, and it kind of got me thinking about the past 6 Treyarch Call of Duty titles. Have Treyarch ever taken, and it kind of sounds cringe me saying this being a 25-year-old, but have they ever taken an L? Have they themselves ever made a bad Call of Duty game? We can all name a bad COD. For me, Advanced Warfare is up there, Modern Warfare 2, the latest one is up there. Some might say COD Ghosts, I think it had a good campaign. Extinction was okay. You might say Vanguard, which technically does include Treyarch zombies, but the game is Sledgehammer. Zombies reuses Sledgehammer's assets. I find it difficult to associate that one with Treyarch. So Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer have definitely made bad Call of Duty games in the past, but have Treyarch? Because I saw Pizza put this tweet out where he said, "I see absolutely no L's here. I'm hyped for Call of Duty 2024, Treyarch are cooking, and Treyarch's previous 6 titles, which were World at War, Black Ops 1, BO2, BO3, BO4 and Cold War, were all fire." So is this a true statement? And a lot of people are going to have mixed opinions here because that's what it's all about. There are many different factors. It depends what you want from a Call of Duty game. Are you just interested in the campaign? Does it bother you if a multiplayer mode is bad or good if you just play zombies, for example, or vice versa? I suppose it also depends on when you came into Call of Duty. If you're an OG and you've been playing every single game since World at War 2008, or even before that, COD 4 2007, maybe even the big red one, and you've fully experienced every Call of Duty day one, you're more likely to compare more recent games to those older ones, so you have more to go off on what a good Call of Duty game should be compared to someone who's got into it more recent. And with that comes nostalgia. If your first Call of Duty was Infinite Warfare, for example, and you have fond memories of that game, playing with your friends or whatever, then that might be your favourite COD for that reason, because none of the others after that gave you that same experience. Maybe your friends grew up and stopped playing COD. Whatever it might be, there are many different reasons why we each have our own favourite Call of Duty, but I would say in general, there is a consensus on what the best and worst COD games are, and I would also say Treyarch are up there, if not the best developer out of the bunch. Out of Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward and Treyarch are number 1. But that doesn't mean that they haven't made a bad game. Out of all of their previous 6 Call of Duty games, they do have more than that, by the way, but those are the main ones. They also made Vanguard zombies and Modern Warfare 3 zombies, but just counting their standalone games in quotation marks, because other studios have also helped them out. But out of their main 6, have they ever made a bad game? And personally, I would say yes, but I would struggle to label them as bad. Whereas Pizza is saying that they've cooked or they've all been fire, I wouldn't necessarily go that far. I could agree with they've all been good, but some have definitely been better than the others. There are 1 or 2 for me which I think are just on the verge of average / bad compared to the standard that I hold Treyarch at. Every other developer, they're just at a different level. But going through them all, World at War, I can agree that game was fire. It was the end of the World War II era of games, which I'm very hopeful for because we had so many at that point. That was the final one we would get in a while. And I would also go as far as to say it's the best World War II shooter out of any Call of Duty. Even the old ones, COD 1, COD 2, the big red one, COD 3, or more recently, Call of Duty World War II or Call of Duty Vanguard. I think World at War is the best World War II game that we've had from COD, and it was from Treyarch. Let's not forget, it also gave us the zombies mode, so yes, World at War definitely deserves that status. Black Ops 1 was definitely a fire Call of Duty. It took the zombies mode to a whole nother level. The campaign, I think I've got to say it's the best COD campaign ever. It's still my favourite 13 years later. The multiplayer, funnily enough, I hated it to begin with. I actually sold the game probably, I think, like a week after I brought it. When I was more of a multiplayer person, I just couldn't get into the MP, so I sold it, but ended up buying it back a couple of weeks after, and I loved it ever since. So BO1 also deserves that title. BO2 might be the best Call of Duty ever. An amazing multiplayer, a great zombies, discounting transit, a really good campaign. Overall, I think, combining all of those 3 modes together, it was my favourite Call of Duty ever. BO3 had the best zombies we've ever seen, including Zombies Chronicles. The amount of maps was insane. It's my favourite story. The gameplay was some of the best. I think that's considered the standard of zombies, the peak. I will say though, unlike BO2, BO1 or World at War, the campaign wasn't very good, and I know a lot of people share this same opinion. It definitely had that Treyarch feeling, and that might have been the reason why it was bad. If you look at BO1's campaign or BO2, even World at War, Treyarch like to do this thing of, I don't know quite how to describe it. They like leave you guessing or don't fully explain what's going on, whereas the Modern Warfare universe or anything we've seen from Sledgehammer is pretty linear and simple. Treyarch's campaigns are always crazy, and I think they tried a little bit too hard with BO3's, where the gameplay side wasn't fun. So the campaign was bad, The multiplayer, a lot of people did enjoy. Personally, I just don't like boost jumping in Call of Duty multiplayer, or even that style of gameplay in general from any game. Overwatch, Destiny, whatever. I just don't like that movement style. The only game I could ever get into which was similar to that was Titanfall. But a lot of people did like it and do consider BO3's movement one of the best, if that's the style you're looking for. So besides from the campaign, the multiplayer and the zombies were fire, so 2 out of 3, the majority. We then come to Black Ops 4, which I think is where things start to get a little bit shaky, because if you just go through the comments of this tweet, you will see BO4 and Cold War, the game we're going to talk about after, pop up the most. These are the 2 games where you're most likely to find the most controversy. Just taking a look at some of them, someone said the only L is BO4 just because the zombies sucked. Your opinion is 4 out of 6 valid. What crack were you smoking to put BO4 as a good Treyarch game? The last 2 were mediocre. The BO4 sneak. Other than the BO4 campaign, I do think it was an amazing game. Somebody else said BO4 is my favourite COD ever and nobody can tell me otherwise. So Black Ops 4 and Cold War are the 2 games that have the most mixed opinions, where most people agree that 3, 2, 1 and World at War deserve their titles, and I would agree with that. Black Ops 4 doesn't even have a campaign. The Zombies was very controversial. Personally, I think it was okay. It wasn't up to the standards of their past games, but it was still good enough. But the multiplayer I didn't like, so 1 out of 3 being a decent zombies, but not a good campaign which didn't even exist, and an average multiplayer. I wouldn't quite say Black Ops 4 was fire, and Cold War, I think, had an okay zombies, or good compared to what we have now. It had a good campaign. I didn't enjoy it as much as World at Wars or BO1 or BO2's, but it was better than BO3's and, well, definitely better than Black Ops 4's. I didn't like the multiplayer. For me, it didn't have that Treyarch style or feeling, which is one of the reasons why Treyarch is my favourite developer. Their multiplayer does feel a lot different to Sledgehammer's or Infinity Ward's. They're more cartoony, more fast-paced. They feel more arcadey, whereas Cold War's just felt a little bit too similar to Infinity Ward's multiplayer or Sledgehammer's. So Cold War had a decent zombies, a decent campaign. The multiplayer wasn't bad, but I didn't love it. So again, I wouldn't give it the status of being a fire game where Treyarch cooked. It was okay. And that was the last full game we've seen from Treyarch. They have since then given us Vanguard Zombies, which we're not even going to comment on, it sucked, and Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, which is good for what it is. But again, it's hard to say that's a Treyarch mode, because a lot or most of what we see in it is from Infinity Ward's multiplayer and campaign. If it was just Treyarch's, it could be very different. So whether it's good or bad, I don't really like judging them on that for that reason. So would I agree with Pizza's tweet? You know what? To a certain extent, yes. I don't think Treyarch have made a bad COD. I don't think Black Ops 4 is bad. I don't think Cold War is bad. They might not have cooked on every title, but I generally don't think they've made a bad Call of Duty, which can't be said for the other devs. And for that reason, I do think sometimes maybe you've got to give Treyarch praise for that. It's very easy to make a bad Call of Duty, and I don't think it's easy to make a good one that everybody enjoys. They managed to do that for such a long time with World at War, BO1, 2 and 3, and even though 4 and Cold War didn't quite bring people together like those games did, being someone who's witnessed it firsthand, they didn't get the amount of hate that other developers' average games have gotten. So perhaps they have cooked on all 6 titles. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest comments on the channel. Do you agree? Let me know, but I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.